gotten to try it yet, but it was very brilliant. It looks brilliant. Name is stupid. Probably would have come up with something else.
What would you have called it?
I haven't played it. I just think Cuphead is a stupid name.
You remember it, though.
Well, no. Think who you're talking to. I don't remember anything. It's just
You remembered Cuphead.
That's not because of the name. It was because I thought it looked good. So I don't think the name was very good. But
what do you think? What do you think the best ever name for a video game? I mean, obviously, like Centipede. Okay, that's why they call it. But I mean, what do you think is a great video game name?
Oh, you really put me on the spot here, Boat. Why don't you tell me yours first and give me a chance to think about it? Okay, I've got it.
All right, let's hear it.
The best, I just think this is a cool name. It fits the game, and it's a spooky but simple name. Alone in the Dark. I think that's a cool name for a game.
Okay.
It sounds creepy. You don't know why you're alone in the dark, but you know what that feeling is like, and it's not good.
That's true.
And it sets a good vibe for the game.
I like it. I like it.
And you?
Night Driver.
Night Driver?
Hey, it is what it is.
Are you kidding me? Night Driver?
Who doesn't like driving on a long, lonely stretch of road at night?
I'm just looking if there was a Night Driver box or something behind me, that you just had to glance behind me.
No.
You know, mine is an Enduro Racer. That's what it is.
That's a terrible name. But like, it's very evocative, you know? Night Driver. You're just driving at night. Think about all those times you've been out on the AA highway after dark, driving around the foothills of Kentucky.
I've never been out there after dark.
Really?
Because my job is over at dark.
You never, like, go to the prisons after hours?
Hell, would you?
No.
Would you go there?
I wouldn't go there during business hours.
I tell you that my buddy got pepper sprayed the other day in prison.
Oh my gosh! Why? Was this your partner?
Yeah, he was in jail doing his thing, and a prisoner got rowdy right next to him, and so they pepper sprayed everybody. So he got some. He got him a little taste.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, people don't get that. I work with like a bunch of prisoners. I was in detention center the other day, and they were marching suckers in. And these prisoners, most of the time, these are little dinky little schmoes. They were on drugs, or some chicks that look like they've been beat down. But they brought in this dude. It looked like if King Kong Bundy's illegitimate son. He was about 6'4". He weighed about 470 pounds. Big, huge, tall, skin-bald killer. Steely-eyed killer walked past me. And I thought to myself, man, if things went sideways, what would I do? You know, and...
Run.
Scream, scream, and get in a fetal position.
Yeah,
it came to mind. Beg for forgiveness.
I do all those things.
Yeah.
Eric agrees with Alone in the Dark that he thinks it's a great name. Chat, what do you think? The best video game, the most evocative video game names? Like, I can tell you some dumb ones. Most of them are dumb. Like Final Fantasy, dumb.
That it doesn't mean anything, and
right.
Also it wasn't the last one.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. That's been mentioned a few times.
But another good one by the same company, Rad Racer. It's rad. When was the last time you used rad in conversation?
It's funny.
You kind of grew up in the heyday of rad.
No, really, I'm a little bit older than I was around clearly in the 80s, but it's not like I wasn't like growing up going like rad, radical, you know. If you listen, did you listen to Rob's show? After he quit podcasting, he did come back and do the throwback reviews in December.
I didn't listen to it.
I listened to it, and they talked, and the word rad came up more than a few times because they talked about what kids today don't understand about the way things were. Or they're basically complaining about kids today, which I'm behind that topic. Right? And they mentioned rad a bunch of times, but no, I'm not a skateboard dude. I didn't say that stuff, man.
Brutal says, do you know why it was called Final Fantasy? I believe it was because the designer thought it was going to be the last game for the company, because I think Square was in dire financial straits at the time. But you still shouldn't pigeonhole yourself like that. You got to leave yourself an opening. Of course, it hasn't stopped them from doing 17 more of them. So
yeah, people love that stuff.
What do you think about the name Zack McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders?
It's a mouthful. It's a little much for me.
I always is that the one? I get that mixed up with Commander Keen.
That's different.
Yeah.
Another one that comes to mind was that Atari game. What was it? Something on the Planet of the Robot Monsters. Remember that one? What's the name of that? It's on the Amiga, actually. It's based on the arcade game.
Oh, not Dash Galaxy, but it's that Flash Gordon, right? Flash Gordon and the
No, it's something.
oh, it's the Planet of Zoom.
Yeah, it's something that the Planet of the Robot Monsters, and it's sort of like a 3D or a Zaxxon style.
Is the full name
Berserk?
Is the full name Planet of Robot Monsters, Pishbot? I think maybe that's the.
There's
whole,
more
that's
to it. No, there's more to it. Maybe it's like Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters or something like that. But I always thought that was kind of a good name. The name I can't remember. That's a real good one.
Oh, okay. Zach it's a scum game. I don't know why I thought it was.
Yeah,
like Commander Keen.
it's nothing like Commander Keen. I just thought you were being cute.
No, for some reason I don't know. They're just connected in my mind.
That's a good one. Supersonic acrobatic rocket powered battle cars.
That is a good one. Escape from the Planet of the Robot.
That's
Monsters.
right. I was close.
So I had this idea.
Oh boy!
Because I wanted to get something for Wilcox for his birthday next year. I didn't want to just get him more liquor. I'm kind of tired of.
Also, he doesn't drink
giving
that
people
much.
liquor. Yeah,
and he shouldn't drink.
Right. And so, I was gonna cross stitch him a Coco like screenshot, and then I looked at Coco games. And they don't display pixels in a normal way. Like, they're not just like squares on the screen. Everything is like fuzzy and like, why is that? Why is the Coco so...
Well, it hooks up to your TV.
But I mean, like, even when you look at like screen grabs from an emulator and you blow them up, they're still not like
they're
hard
low res.
pixels. Yeah.
They're real low res.
Yeah, it's really, really low
But
res.
I mean, it looks fine on the TV. It looks totally normal. I never had my Coco hooked to a monitor. So, I mean, it probably looks pretty sharp, I guess. I don't know how you'd output. I don't know what... I know they've got video hacks on the Coco, but I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I was like, well, I'll just do like maybe like a Sprite or something. But there's not a whole lot of... like... Because I was like, what? I sent him a text. I was like, what's your favorite games? And he's like, the Sands of Egypt and something else. And it's like a text
graphics
adventure.
text,
Yeah. And so...
Well, you know, I told the Chud that you were trying to bring him into the Coco zone, and he does find it mildly amusing. And I told him, I said, you need to get all your old computer stuff out of the garage or whatever. We need to look through it.
Yeah.
I've been pushing this. I've got a sucker to go up and get it out of the loft, and that's Brent's kid, Christian, my nephew. Send him. He's wiry. Get him up in there, and he'll do it. He already said he'd do it. You know, you got to get somebody to go up and do this stuff for you, because me and him, he'd go right to the ceiling, which would admittedly be funny, but he may be killed.
Right.
You know, Coco is like the Apple II, except better. Oh well, no one's going to say that. Even I can't get through that one.
Except Wilcox would. Chad, he would be.
He hates Apple II.
Yeah, and he told me one time that the Coco was better graphics than the Amiga. He said that there were certain games that in a certain graphics mode that they look in, and so I said, all right.
Maybe we'd smoke enough or take enough booze.
I definitely want to do a Coco podcast. That
area has been fertily seeded and harvested.
Yeah, and that harvest, I don't want to say anything bad.
I was waiting to see where you went.
But
the
that
Coco
harvest
crew is out there.
The harvest, the laborers are plenty, but the harvest is few.
Well, it depends on you. Those guys aren't game guys.
Right.
They're technical guys.
There is nobody doing the kind of show that I want to do for the Coco.
You've never touched a Coco.
I never touched an Amiga before we started the show.
Well, you've thoroughly touched one. I mean, even my knowledge, the Coco is 40 years old.
It doesn't matter. The thing that matters are the games. And so,
you know how when you started playing the Amiga, you were amazed at how awesome the games were? I wouldn't expect similar results in the Coco.
Are there, I know there's a lot of text-based adventure games.
There's a lot of graphic-based games.
Yeah.
Then we had Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Except it wasn't Donkey Kong. It's called Monkey Kong or Monkey King or Donkey King.
Right.
Or Triple X Sex Kong, my personal favorite.
Of course.
We didn't have Popeye. We had the Sailor Man. All right.
See, this is all gold.
We didn't have Galaxian or Galaga. We had Galax was the name of it. We didn't have Pac-Man. We had Megabug. All right. It was a lot of rip-offs of arcade games, you know, and so that's what you'd be seeing a lot of. There were text games. There were a lot of text games. There were a lot of graphical text games.
I was going to say, are there any non-clones for the Coco that are worth playing?
Now, see, you better answer that question there. Isn't the Amiga's logo based on the pawn shop in Zach McCracken.
It's actually not. It was actually taken from the arcade in Maniac Mansion. The room. It was one of the rooms from the arcade machines came from the arcade, and then I think there's maybe it's like a movie theater or something. There were two sources for that graphic. Where I got the floor from came from one room, I think, and where the arcade machines came from, I got from another room. But yeah, or maybe it did come from Zach McCracken. And I just assumed it was Maniac Mansion. I don't know.
I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and there it was.
Hey, Jason.
We don't know where things are from.
Maybe it was from the pawn shop.
Hey, how's my puppet and mime bar shirt selling this week?
Oh, it's flying off. It's flying off the shelf. I'm going to post that in the chat so people can see what I'm talking about.
Now, you got the design from this off Zach McCracken, didn't you?
No, this came from...
Just screwing with you, man. I don't know what you... I like the fact that you're going to answer me in a calm, thoughtful manner.
I mean, for somebody that was as unfamiliar with Wing Commander as I was, because I've been waiting for a great game to come up with a bar scene so I could put this thing together. And so
you're kidding me. I thought this was your first experience with Wing Commander?
Yeah, I'd never played Wing Commander.
You realize that, without getting into too much detail, Wing Commander is like a huge... it was the game that changed the way games were made. Mm-hmm. I mean, effectively. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you had not seen it.
Yeah.
Or played it. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah, I'd heard of it, of course, and people always spoke in hushed tones of reverence. But I'd never played it. It always just seemed like it was right in that era of gaming that I wasn't really that active on the PC side, because this came out in 92, 93?
Yeah, but it was on the Super Nintendo as well.
I don't think that it came out on the Super Nintendo.
No, it did. And also there was a Mega CD port as well.
I don't think it came out.
And it was on the 3DO.
I don't think it came out in the United States for the Super Nintendo. I think it was a Euro-only thing.
You're just making crap up, Boat.
I don't know. I don't know why I didn't play it.
These people know their stuff. They're not going to listen. They're not going to take that.
Okay, maybe.
You could have said it only came out in Australia or something. You might have got something there, but now everyone knows it was out on the Super Nintendo. I'm just surprised. I was a big game. I mean, it was mostly a PC. I don't hear a lot of console gamers going like, "Man, that Wing Commander was the bomb."
Yeah,
you know.
I think that first-person space combat shooters. They were the X-wing games.
They came after.
They came after that. And there was Wing Commander, and I mean, before that, was there anything? I mean, Elite.
Well, but I mean, it was different. And even X-wing and TIE Fighter, they took the combat portion of the game. They didn't take any of the actual what made the game great, the cinematic. It was very Cinemaware-like, right? We shouldn't talk about this now. We'll talk about it later. Yeah. I disagree with you, fellas. I went to the movie expecting it to be garbage, and I actually thought it was okay. So, and I did see the movie in the theater. There you go. So that's my claim to fame.
Who was with you?
I think Chad.
He's your companion on all these.
Listen, I run with a lot of different people. I think he was with me when that one came out. It's funny I didn't do any notes on the movie, but I mean I did see the movie in the theater, and it bore a little resemblance to the game for the most. I mean it did, but it didn't. You know, but I thought it was okay. But if you pretend the game doesn't exist, I thought it was a decent space movie.
I'm surprised that the World of Warcraft.
Good job, Jason.
Movie. Did that ever actually come out?
The World of Warcraft movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Maybe it did, and I just never saw it.
Hey, did that World of Warcraft movie? It did, didn't it? Was that a couple years ago? It didn't. It bombed, didn't it? It bombed horribly.
It did. Thanks, Jason. So
yeah. That shows you. Think about it. Well, you know what World of Warcraft is. Yeah. You know World of Warcraft, and you know Warcraft, and you didn't know that movie had came out. It came out, sucked, and was gone.
It was gone.
And it was all right underneath your gaze. You know, so it didn't do too good.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to let's steer the ship back to the Coco again for a second. Okay. So
nothing brings in the France more than band and Coco talk.
So I sent you a link to what looked to be like an awesome computer that is TRS-80 Model 3.
Yes, I was appalled by that link.
And I thought you said that the Coco 3 was the best out of all of them.
That's not a Coco.
It said Coco on the auction.
The thing you sent me was for a model was a TRS-80. That was a built-in screen. That's what the little picture was. That's not a Coco. The Coco didn't have a built-in screen.
Well, what was that thing called?
That was the Model 3. That was the TRS-80 Model 3. That was the monochrome TRS-80s that came out before the Coco line existed.
So the Coco line and the TRS-80 line are completely separate.
They're both TRS-80s, but they're just different models. Let me explain something to you. You saw that picture. It was a screen, monochrome screen hooked to a computer, right? What made the Coco different was it was a color computer, you see.
Right, I understand.
You don't do color and monochrome. So you can see where you get confused here.
But I don't think the auction said that it had a monochrome screen. I just assumed it was a color screen.
Coco doesn't have a built-in screen. They have to use a TV. So.
But that thing, I mean, you could kill a man with that thing.
Cocos are super expensive too now, the 3s. Coco 2, Coco 1 you get for nothing. Coco 3, they're going to cost you.
What is it about the 3? They just didn't make very many of them.
128K memory, really, and it was expanded. It had lower case. That's always good.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that in a computer.
Let me put it. I'm going to date myself here a bit. I know you like that's usually your job, but the Coco I used the first time I ever did any word processing was on a Coco, and of course the Coco didn't have a good word processor, right? At least I didn't have it, but I did have terminal software that would let me print what was on the screen. It would also let me use different fonts, and it would also let me use lowercase, which are 3 things I couldn't do. And so all my reports in, I guess would have been 83, were in fancy fonted, I mean, it was the fanciest, I don't know what the real
script.
Yeah, it was super fancy script, and it was all printed off this terminal program. And my teacher was just like, oh,
I'm sure that
they couldn't freaking get over it because I was the only one that wasn't typing stuff out.
Yeah.
With a typewriter.
Right.
Because I was like, screw that. I mean, if I got this thing.
You were ahead of the game.
I was. I mean, I was probably the only person, one of the only people in my grade, and possibly one of 2 or 3 people in the school that had a printer.
Yeah.
So I got over. But eventually, my mom was like, are you sure you want to turn this stuff in that script? I was like, yes, I do. It's the fanciest script I got. So.
What were you writing papers about back then?
I've still got a couple, but I don't remember. Who knows? Crap. Just a bunch of crap. I don't know what the hell it was.
You weren't right. Did you write any papers about wrestling?
Absolutely.
I
told you my demonstration speech was on how to properly apply the Cobra clutch.
No, you never told me that.
Yeah.
That's the one with the legs.
And then I choked the dude out. I'm serious. I said, listen, because I didn't know anyone in the class, and I hated speech because I'm not a extroverted person.
You don't like to talk very much.
No. And I'm quiet. People have trouble hearing me. And so, truly at the time, I was really shy. And I asked this guy, I'm like, listen, you're a pretty decent sized guy. Would you mind helping me out with this speech? I need because most people are doing this crap, like how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or how to make your bed. Some stupid crap, right? I was like, I'm gonna do something cool. So I'm like, and so I literally did my speech on how to properly apply the Cobra clutch. I grabbed the guy's hand, I laced my hand, I explained what these were in amateur wrestling. And then once I had it locked in, I literally just picked the guy off the ground. I went like, I just gunned it as hard as I could, and made this guy's face turn red. And the teacher was like, "That's very unusual, Mr. Dowdy." The Cobra clutch, you say? I'm like, that's right. He's like, well, thank you. And I went back to my seat, got nailed the paper, and I saw that guy stagger back to his seat. I was like, yes, mission accomplished. I got the cripple guy.
It was great. Yeah. After that, the ladies were yours.
Well, no. No.
So Eric says that the World of Warcraft movie cost $160 million and earned $433 million so far. So it was not the bomb, perhaps, that we thought it was.
You're kidding me. That is a stunner, isn't it? It did better than I thought, eh?
Yeah. Now, the figure 4, I do know that that's a leg move because it has the word leg walk in it. The sharpshooter is where you turn around, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I used to do the same thing. And I've put hose in the figure 4 more times than I care to mention. And my brother.
Out of the many wrestling matches that have occurred between you and Hose, who always comes out on top?
Hose cheats. I told you about his loaded glove, didn't I?
No.
Hose had, they used to have these things called coal miner's glove match in wrestling, and a lot of bad guys would load up a glove. And Hose had this fingerless glove, right? It was like a pad, and he would take, and in the knuckle area, he would put a big, huge. He had a nail clipper.
Oh my
God! They were like a real thick one. And he would it had a pouch, and he would load that thing up, and he'd get you in a headlock and go pop, and he would pop you with that thing. It hurt, man. He would light you up. Now, most of my epic matches with Brent, and I distinctly remember superplexing off my mom's dresser one time. And little did I know that he would land on the bed, and I landed on the floor head first. So it was the first and last time I did superplex on Brent. But yeah, we had all kinds of battles. He didn't necessarily want to have them, but
He was coerced into the battle.
that might be the cause of some of the animosity. Now that I think about it.
All right, Aaron. It's time to close this pre-show out and move on to the main event.
Yes, I think we're ready.
All right.
Thanks for helping us out, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, chat.
We'll be back.